that out for the comic book. You know, it took the shape that it took, but we're still kind of chewing on what is the best way to leverage that content, right? Potentially, Medan is a pretty cool character, but it just hasn't come up yet in terms of post-Cataclysm. We have certainly been discussing a number of possible directions for whatever the next expansion is. But that has not factored in yet, but I'm sure come Monday morning we will be talking about it.
Hi. Will we ever see a redemption or resurrecting of Illidan Stormrage as a character with Malfurion and that whole storyline?
Boy, do I want to do that. I think that'd be badass. I don't think anyone at all has even suggested it or talked about it. Not to my knowledge. But I love that shit. I'm a sucker for a good redemption story, so... StarCraft. Except for Arthas, though. You gotta pay, brother. You're going down.
Hi there. In Burning Crusade, Illidan didn't seem very involved in a lot of the quests directly, but in Wrath, you saw Arthas everywhere. How are you approaching Cataclysm with Deathwing?
Little in between both. I think in Wrath we may have kind of cartooned Arthas out to some degree, and we're aware of it. You know, we know this. Him showing up at the right times was awesome and made a powerful statement, but it was excessive at times. So with Deathwing, and he's a different animal, literally, he's a dragon. So it's a little harder to have him show up and not just kill you. So we're a little more careful, though when you do see Deathwing in Cataclysm, he'll kill you. So, 99% of the time.
His name ain't Social Wing.
All right, so I'm just wondering if you could give any spoilers or theories about the possible location or even a name of the next Old God for its expansion, and maybe even elaborate a little upon the theory that if all the old gods are kind of dealt with, then Azeroth will kind of be doomed. Because, I mean, so far we've dropped Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron, and we're not really seeing much doomsday effect besides Cataclysm, but that's really with Deathwing.
Or is it? You haven't seen who signs Deathwing's paychecks yet. Let me see if I get that. So there are two questions. One is, will we give you spoilers on the next expansion set? No. No. The second part was, I'm sorry, brother, was the suggestion that as we punk down old gods, is there some greater calamity or price to pay?
Now, I was asking if you had any theory or idea of what a name for next old god would be, and maybe elaborate a little upon. Because, I mean, a while ago you kind of suggested the theory that if the old gods were dealt with, that kind of this doomsday and Azeroth kind of ceased to be because of some catastrophic event. But so far with 2 down, we're not really seeing much calamity happening.
Have you played any Cataclysm?
You know, like where the world blows up? Because of the old gods?
Yeah, because of the old gods.
Right. So, have we publicly announced the?
I don't. You might, if you're astute enough, see his name or its name uttered in a few places in Cataclysm, but it's out there.
You want to know what it is?
Oh, N'Zoth?
Yes. I was asking your permission.
Oh, I thought you.
Get in trouble by rolling it out.
No, let's roll.
The third old god is N'Zoth. And we've suggested, I think directly, that he was the critter responsible for the spark of the Emerald Nightmare. And he's got all sorts of other weird shit going on, so he's a real problem.
Well, damn, he took my question. but I got to back up. We've seen over the years a lot of the overarching evils and dangers that the heroes have had to confront be taken down, and they've slowly been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Are there plans to take out some of the more benevolent kind of, well, challenges? We've seen 2 of the dragons go down, and we've proven that they're not infallible. Would one day we take down Alexstrasza?
All right, let me answer it this way. She's the aspect of life, man. Come on, can you really punk her down for long? A careful way to answer that question is, over the course of Cataclysm, obviously Deathwing's the bad guy, you know, and in the subsequent patches, similar to how Wrath of the Lich King worked, you know, the final patch is Fall of the Lich King, you know, ultimately when we develop the final combat with Deathwing and put him down, figured there's really good money on the fact that the family is going to have to get involved, right? The aspects, it will be their, let's say, greatest and most terrible hour. They will perform the function for which they were created all those eons ago. So as far as like, you know, who's getting killed or who isn't or whatever, it's probably healthy to let that breathe at this point, but know that we love these characters. We would not arbitrarily off them at all. And again, I'm not suggesting that they're going to die at all. But figure, Deathwing is so gnarly, right? How do you defeat something that is undefeatable, right? Can he be defeated by any martial means? It's a very good question. How will the family and Thrall pull this off? Oh, I just have to say it. Damn it. So you know how Thrall's a shaman? Yes, we do. So what aspect is missing from the family? Okay, guys, it's the big black dragon, Earth. Earth would be correct. Notharian's out, right? The family's been broken for eons. Well, all right, not eons, 10,000 years, the family has been broken. And what are the 5 aspects are you missing? You are missing Earth. So I'm just saying, perhaps that's a way our boy Thrall can distinguish himself down the line in helping to bring the family back together for the big win. Just saying.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Althea from Big Crits, and I have a question concerning the book lore and how it pertains to Cataclysm. In the book Storm Range, some serious stuff happens, which, in my personal opinion, is a little bit more intense than what happens in Cataclysm. And I was wondering, is everyone just going to forget what happened to them after the Cataclysm, and what's the plans concerning that, with the nightmare taking over the world and pretty much keeping everyone in an eternal nightmare until the deed was done? I don't want to give spoilers, that's why I'm being kind of vague.
So the question would be, do we reference the events of the novel Storm Rage broadly in Cataclysm? Is that the question?
Specifically broadly, like I personally wouldn't like if it was touched on, or I was like, oh, this happened. And I understand there's some stuff that Malfurion does to take out some of the people responsible for what happened, but like, it happened to everybody. Like, everybody was affected. I just want to know, is it going to be brought up a lot?
There are things in our literature that are harder to pull off than others. That's one of them. Especially in an expansion when you're dealing with breaking the world, things can get muddled. So it's dealt with delicately in Cataclysm, but yeah, we don't hit you over the head with it, for sure.
And it's, to some degree, to follow up to that, do you think all these battle-hardened cats are going to sit and whine about a bad dream when there's molten magma spewing up under their feet? You know, it's kind of an issue of priorities, right?
Yeah, that's what everyone I've ever brought that up to told me. It's like, oh, the Cataclysm, screw whatever happened with the Nightmare. That this shit's real.
No, I mean it's continuity. The Nightmare totally happened, but in terms of prioritization of like rewriting all the NPC quests, like it's important to err on the side of the big giant game rather than the super cool but lesser read novel. I mean lesser read relative to 12 point something million and the couple 100,000 that bought that. No disparaging remark whatsoever.
Awesome. Thank you for hearing me out.
Right on, man.
Sure.
Hi, this is an honor. I'm an old school tabletop role player, as I can assume that you are as well. Thanks. There's two of them. I'm in a guild on an RP server, and we absolutely love storytelling, Roystra's Forum Dynasty. But one of our things is we were always wondering if there were tools that might be implemented into the game to sort of facilitate role-playing, like instead of having to rely on add-ons, like some sort of flag for role-playing or some sort of character description, or are you more comfortable leaving that to the community to do on its own?
Yes. So let me get this straight. You want something like a story pane for your character, essentially?
Maybe not something that is like even going back so far as say EverQuest, they had like a little character description that would pop up when you inspected somebody.
Sure.
And I always thought that was something that maybe was missing from the interface of Warcraft that might be beneficial to a lot of people.
I mean, I wouldn't rule out the possibility. We haven't really discussed it often. So sure, we can bring it up again. Yeah.
It's a cool hook.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my question is, there's a lot of lore with Deathwing in the old RTS WoW games. Is there going to be any kind of connection with like the Demon Soul being implemented in Cataclysm or anything like that? And then in Outlands, there was kind of a hint that maybe the Nether Drakes were related to Deathwing. Is that going to be clarified at all, I guess is my question.
Yes. I can't really talk too much about it, but I think you'll see something soon.
Something awesome.
Amazing, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Wow.
Hello. I have a goblin question. With Kazan now volcano to death, and the goblins having to integrate into Orgrimmar and all the capital cities, will they ever try to go back to the island, kind of like the trolls went to their islands and the gnomes to Nomergon? And if not, will we ever see Undermine in the game as an accessible area at all?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think Kazan's, so when you play through the Goblin experience, it's a small segment of the actual whole of Kazan. So yeah, we totally want to go back to the Undermine and the rest of the islands and the islands in that area. It's just a matter of when. Can't tell you. One day.
Thank you.
Hi. I know that the Paladins got a lot of attention in the last expansion, and that the Silver Hand, the joining of the Silver Hand in the Argent Crusade was a big point. And I've also seen about the Eastern Plaguelands and Western Plaguelands, how they're being rebuilt. So I wanted to know if the Paladins were still going to play a big part. Maybe there was a dungeon or something. Is there a reputation to be gained?
So you see the Argent Crusade, and what they're doing right now is cleanup, right? There's remnants of the Scourge still floating around, or undead that aren't quite being kept in check. And the Plaguelands was kind of their base of operations. They're spreading out, and with the Cenarian Circle cleansing the land. Will there be a dungeon that revolves around that? No, not necessarily. Nothing planned right now. I think the last expansion, we did a lot with the Crusade. And so, give them a little bit of time to breathe. We'll see them again.
In Cataclysm, in Wrath of the Lich King, it seemed in endgame raiding content that you went from Ulduar, then you were fighting in a Coliseum, and then you were raiding Lich King. I was wondering in Cataclysm, is there going to be more cohesion